Hey everyone, today we're going to be taking a look at the Radius 21 liter backpack from Inside Line Equipment. And this is a brand that had flown a little bit under the radar for me, but thankfully it's gotten shouted out a couple of times in the comments. As always, I'm on the lookout for suggestions for you guys, and I'm really glad you called this one out. I took a look through their website and it seemed like they had some really great options. Also, handmade bags in California definitely caught my attention, and so I've had a chance to use the Radius backpack for the past couple of weeks, and in this video I'm going to be talking about what it's been like to use it. I'll show you how I've loaded it out, walk through all the features, and I'll also talk about how it compares to some of the other similar bags that are currently on the market. Before jumping into the video, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Danny, and on this channel we love reviewing popular travel and everyday carry gear. If you like these types of videos and you'd be interested in seeing more, please consider subscribing as it helps the channel out a lot. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. Starting off with the overall aesthetic, the bag's design is fairly simple. It keeps things pretty minimal and reminds me of bags from companies like Evergoods, Bellroy, Timbuk2, or even some of the more minimal options from Mystery Ranch like their Prize Fighter pack. And this is a style that I tend to really gravitate towards as it feels very versatile. This is something that's going to be right at home in a more urban setting for people that are commuting, but also going to be great for traveling. It can work for students that need something to go to campus, or it can even work for going into the outdoors. As far as the materials, the bag feels really solidly built. This is my first experience with Inside Line Equipment's bags, and so far the quality of the bag has been very impressive. They're offered in a couple of different fabrics. They have Corduro, wax canvas, and the version that I have here is VX21 X-Pack. These are all handmade in California, and they do have a lifetime warranty, so great to see that. The X-Pack version has felt not only very durable, but it feels like it's going to give you some extra weather resistance, which is why I'm a big fan of the fabric. And then beyond that, you have some very well protected YKK zippers all throughout. Continuing along the outside of the bag, you have two external water bottle pockets, and these offer a pretty nice amount of space. I was able to easily fit my 26-ounce Yeti Rambler. And even with a water bottle of this size, it still feels like there's some extra space. So if you have something a little bit bigger, you should be able to squeeze it in there. And I like that these compartments expand outwardly, so they're not going to eat up that much space from the main compartment. And then these are also sized to hold a U-lock if you're using this as a backpack for commuting. I do wish that the compartments were maybe a little bit deeper. You can see that the water bottle pops up slightly over the compartment, but it still feels like a fairly secure hold. And then these don't collapse automatically into themselves, even though they have that elasticity, but you can kind of press them down when they're not in use to maintain a cleaner overall look. On the front of the bag, you have the Inside Line Equipment logo, which is a little bit larger and more prominent than I typically like to see, particularly with the white font against the black background, but I am happy that it's not front and center on the bag. It's a little bit down to the bottom right corner. And then you also have a loop here that's going to be a good spot to clip on a bike light. And then at the top of the bag, you have a pretty simple handle that's going to allow you to pick the bag up, maybe hang it up when it's not in use. This doesn't come out too much. It's a pretty thin strap, so nothing too crazy here, but it still gets the job done. And then the last thing that I'll mention while we're talking about the outside is that this version of the bag in the X-Pack fabric manages to stand up pretty well on its own. The bag has a fairly wide, flat base, and when it's packed out the way that I have it, I was able to consistently place it down next to me and access the pockets when I needed to. Moving into the capacity, the version of the bag that I have here comes in at around 21 liters, which is a really great daily bag size in my opinion, particularly with a bag that has a simple layout like this. It holds a deceptive amount, so easily able to handle all the items that I typically carry with me with some leftover space for longer days, or if I wanted to use this for a quick trip. And I like that even when this is a little bit more packed out, it maintains a very slim, streamlined profile that hugs my back nicely, making it great for commuting by bike, navigating crowded areas, jumping onto public transit, and carrying onto pretty much any domestic or international airline. Taking a look at the harness system, so far the bag has been really comfortable to wear. I like how the straps have been implemented here. They have a nice amount of padding that feels really soft and comfortable. On the inside, it has a breathable mesh to help prevent moisture from building up. And then the straps also have a nice width to help prevent the bag from digging into your shoulders when it's a little bit more packed out. At the top, you have some load lifters that are going to help you pull that weight closer to your back. I don't really think that these were necessary on a bag of this size. I know some people really like them. I kind of would have preferred to have not had them there just to have kind of a cleaner setup here, but good to have them for the people that want them. And then you have a couple of D-rings here that'll be good for clipping on additional accessories, maybe hanging on your sunglasses. And then you have an adjustable and removable sternum strap to help distribute the weight. As far as the back paneling, this has also been really comfortable. I like the padding that's been included here. It feels very robust. You can get a sense here of how thick it is. Kind of wish that this has been on the straps as well, and it's well distributed throughout the back. You have the same breathable mesh that was on the straps, and then you have some slight air channels here to give you a little bit of airflow while you're walking around throughout the day. I typically prefer to have the larger and deeper vertical air channels. I feel like those provide some extra airflow, but still better than nothing. And in general, the bag has felt great, even as I've been wearing it for a longer period of time. One last note on the back panel is that there is no luggage pass-through, which might have been a nice addition with a bag of this size to be able to pair it with a roller bag. Jumping into the organizational options, the bag keeps things pretty minimal. You just have one quick access pocket on the front, but I really like the implementation here. This is a very spacious pocket. It's going to be able to easily handle some larger accessories that you may be grabbing more regularly during the day. So at the moment, I have my sunglasses case in there. I have a GoPro. I also have a charging cable for my tablet and my phone. I have my AirPods, and then I also have the headlamp from Sandmark that I've been carrying around recently. Very, very helpful. And even with all those items in there, there was still plenty of leftover space if I wanted to place an additional pouch, a battery bank. I know that this is designed to work with some of the organizers that Inside Line Equipment sells. You can slide that in there. So lots of different ways that you can use a pouch like this. The depth goes about the same height as my hand, so really good amount of space. It comes up enough to be able to handle something thicker. So even though it's simple, I really like the flexibility that these pockets provide. And then moving into the main compartment, this is a top loading bag, so the zippers don't go all the way down, but they still go down enough so that you have enough visibility into the bag. I like that it's not an all black lining, so you do have some contrast to give you that bit of visibility. And then with this simpler layout, I was able to fit, an impressive amount of stuff, even some of the bulkier items that I typically carry. It doesn't feel like the bag is overstuffed either, which is great to see. And so jumping in to what I currently have here at the top, I have a packable rain jacket, as well as my Beats Studio wireless headphones. And then under those, I have a couple of pouches. I have the Lockbee wax canvas pouch that I've been featuring in a lot of videos, as well as the Evergood Civic Access pouch 1 liter. And then below those, I have my Alpaca admin pouch, and I also have the Evergood Civic Access pouch 2 liters. And the last thing I have in here at the moment is my Levitate portable standing desk. Now with this main area a little bit emptier, you can get a better look at the inside. I really like how much this comes up, which is what allows it to handle those bulkier accessories very easily, and is also going to help this work quite well as a minimal travel bag. If I wanted to toss in a packing cube, a dop kit, an extra pair of shoes, I'd definitely be able to use this for a longer weekend trip. On the back of the main compartment, you have one mesh zippered pocket that's going to be a good spot for any smaller items that you don't want floating down into the bottom of the bag. I like the mesh that's included here. I can see what's inside, and this is going to offer a pretty decent amount of space. I was able to fit my Apple Magic Mouse in there. I have a Field Notes notebook, and then I also have retractable HDMI cable. And so, just a nice simple pocket with a good amount of space. And then behind that, you have a sleeve that's meant to hold a tablet or a laptop. This isn't really as protective as I would typically like to see. It's not very rigid or padded. The sleeve also isn't pulled up off the bottom of the ground. There is a little bit of padding, but I don't have the same peace of mind as I would if it did have an actual false bottom. Regardless, there is a nice amount of space here. With the 14-inch MacBook Pro that I have, you can see there's plenty of leftover space at the top, so if you have a 15 or 16-inch laptop, it'll be able to easily fit. There's no dedicated tablet sleeve, so I actually have my iPad mini in there as well, just because there was so much capacity. And because this comes up a lot, even though this isn't a dedicated laptop compartment, it still felt pretty easy to reach my devices when I needed to. So I could just reach down, grab both the tablet and the laptop. And now with the compartment empty, you can get a better look at the inside. No sort of fleece lining here. You have a little loop if maybe you want to use this for a hydration bladder. And then you have this Velcro section that will allow you to access the frame sheet if you need to. And with the amount of space that's offered here, if you have a thicker laptop, it should be able to fit there comfortably. Or if you want to pair your laptop with a case to give you some additional protection, it'll be able to handle that as well. So I do wish that this had been a little bit more protective, but still nice to have a dedicated spot for your devices. And in general, I really like the amount of space that's offered in this main area and the simpler layout throughout the rest of the bag. Everything feels well designed, high quality, and if you're looking for an EDC bag that has a pretty sleek aesthetic and that's made in the USA, that's comfortable, this is gonna be a really interesting option to take a look at. And so to wrap up, it's been a pretty great experience testing out the Radius 21 liter backpack over the past couple of weeks. You can currently purchase this on the company's site. It's gonna come in at around $220 for the X-Pack version that I featured in this video. They also have them at around $200 for the Cordura versions of the bag. So, definitely a bit of an investment regardless of the fabric that you go with, but you are getting a really high quality bag that is also assembled in the USA, which tends to come at a bit of a premium, usually more expensive than this. And it does feel like it's gonna hold up well against some of the other similar bags in this price range. And so as I was testing this out, one of the first bags this made me think of is the Arc'teryx Granville. I recently featured the updated edition of the bag on the channel. That's always been one of the most weather resistant bags that I've tested out, both the previous edition and the new edition. It has a little bit more of a rounded silhouette, but a very similar layout. It's a top loading bag with a pretty simple organizational layout. You have a padded laptop sleeve, quick access pocket. The harness system was updated on the new edition. I feel like this one is still a little bit more comfortable, but if you're a fan of Arc'teryx's brand, you're looking for something that's gonna provide, top of the line weather resistance and a little bit of a different silhouette, and that's gonna be a great option to take a look at. Another bag this made me think of is the Evergood CHZ22, which is one of my favorite panel loading bags of this style. So just a really great top loader, simple layout, great quick access pocket. It's got a well padded suspended laptop sleeve. Good amount of capacity. It is offered in a 22 and 26 liter size if you need some extra space. Really comfortable harness system. It of course has Evergood's really subdued crossover aesthetic, so it'll work well in the city, work well for taking into the outdoors. And that one, much like this one, has some really great external water bottle pockets. So just checking off a lot of the same types of boxes, but if you're looking for something with maybe a little bit more of a subdued aesthetic or a different organizational layout, then that's gonna be a great one to consider. And then the last option that I'll mention here is the Timbuk2 Division Pack. Like Inside Line Equipment, I just have a strong association of Timbuk2 with California, with kind of having roots in the bicycle and messenger community. And so, I feel like they're gonna offer a great alternative of tech-focused bags, particularly the Division Pack Deluxe. Feels like something that is gonna blend in well into a more kind of professional setting. It has a nice organizational layout. It's still a top loading bag. It has an external water bottle pocket, well padded harness system, a dedicated well padded laptop compartment. So, just one of my favorite kind of tech and everyday bags. It's gonna come in maybe a little bit more compact than this. And so if you want something with this type of a vibe, but that's gonna offer some more of those tech focused features, and that's gonna be a great option to keep in mind. With that being said, the Radius 21 liter backpack holds up really well against all those options. And if you're looking for a comfortable, well-built bag with a simple layout that's also assembled in the USA, then this is gonna be an excellent option to take a look at. And I'm definitely curious to hear what you all think about the Radius 21 liter backpack and how it compares to some of the other popular tech and EDC bags that are currently on the market. And if there's any similar options that you think that I should check out, as always, please let me know in the comments. And I want to thank the company for sending the bag for me to test out, and to you guys for watching and supporting the channel, and for continuing to provide some really awesome suggestions to give me ideas for future videos. Definitely keep them coming. And if you enjoyed this video, please give us a like. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos, and we'll see you in the next one.